Oh, sorry guys, I'm sorry I'm so excited, but you're never gonna believe what I was able to get to. A ticket! Yes, a ticket! To go see Coyote vs. Acme. It's like Warner Brothers is finally starting to care about us again. I can't wait! That was a gift card to Wendy's.
Animation is an important medium in the world of film. It does something no other kind of film or show can do. It transports you to a world that is just so creative and unique. It makes for one of the most interesting formats of film and TV, and nowhere is that more clearly demonstrated in a company than with Warner Brothers Animation. What does that mean?
I have a lot to explain to the theater worker.
So back in the early 90s, animation was becoming even bigger than it ever was, with Disney in a huge renaissance era pushing animated movies to new heights. Pixar had pushed out a couple of high-quality shorts at the time, which of course would lead up to the first fully CG animated movie, A Bug's Life. And there was a little studio rising in Western theaters known as Studio Ghibli, which was pushing some crazy animated flicks American audiences had never seen prior. So, ready to put in their 2 cents? In 1993, the official debut of Warner Brothers Animation was made.
She filed a restraining order.
Okay, so I should mention that Warner Brothers Animation has actually been around way before 1993. That was their movie debut with Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. From 1981 to 1988, they had a series of compilation films featuring the Looney Tunes. This is also the record for the most Warner Brothers ever cared about Looney Tunes projects. But the official idea of Warner Brothers Animation came in 1993, and 10 years later, they closed the studio in 2003. But then reopened it for the release of Teen Titans Go to the Movies in 2018. Now, you might think this is a blue sky situation where it genuinely is a shame that this company got closed for 15 years. You'd think that, right? Outside of the top 3 for this ranking, it always felt like Warner Brothers Animation purely existed because other companies did animation, and Warner Brothers still doesn't. If the whole idea is to make people think you care about animation, why do you keep refusing to release animated projects and instead scrap them for projects nobody cares about? Warner Brothers has always been about that life though, but I'd argue that even if you took that element out, only 3 of their 8 current films I would consider contenders next to Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, and Ghibli. Now, granted, we still have the anime Lord of the Rings film coming out in December that I have collectively seen one very ambitious woman in the theater get excited for. You goated for that though, random woman I saw in the theater. And the Day the Earth Blew Up could be great if Zaslav doesn't say,
I need a 9th yacht.
Well, let's take a look at the 8 current films and see how they hold up. And for fun, they're ranked in my opinion worst to best.
Keep in mind, opinion, it's an opinion, okay? They exist. This is the definition on Google, okay? All right, just making sure, the opinion. Don't forget the salt. The salt, you have to take a grain of salt with this opinion. It's an opinion with a grain of salt, all right? Please subscribe.
The problem with Quest for Camelot is that it exists. This was the 4th film from Warner Brothers Animation back in 1998. And here's why it's exactly the worst of Warner Brothers Animation's catalog. It proves my point that Warner Brothers Animation is simply an obligatory branch of Warner Brothers. It is a carbon copy of every animated film similar to it. Hell, in 1998 alone you can see the problems here. It's an epic adventure, well yeah, so is Ants, Mulan, or Prince of Egypt. It's a musical, yeah, Mulan, the Rugrats movie, Secret in M2. F that movie, by the way. Dude, it is a bitch basic kids adventure film that does nothing special. And such, it got swept under the rug. It even has Carrie Elways of Princess Bride fame, yet you couldn't tell. It never has been clear that this was the most we need a summer kids film for 1998 release I've ever seen. Is this the worst animated film of 1998? Probably the second worst. It's annoying, it's cheesy, the songs don't stick, the characters are all bland, especially knockoff Zack and Wheezy here.
Dragon Tail, bitch.
This is easily the biggest example of this company's flawed existence.
She could easily be a dragon version of Whoopi Goldberg. Next is Osmosis Jones.
Back in my huge box office bombs video, I discussed this film. Actually, I discussed this film alongside shortly discussing The Iron Giant, which was another financial flop from Warner Brothers Animation. Unlike Iron Giant, though, I see why this bombed. It's a stupid, simple concept of a city within the body of Bill Murray. And when I heard we were going inside of Bill Murray, this is not what I had in mind. Osmosis Jones is voiced by Chris Rock, and his partner Drix is voiced by David Hyde Pierce.
That is the single most Chris Rock-looking blood cell I've ever seen.
Here's the thing, the concept is there. The idea of a whole ecosystem inside your body is not a terrible idea, but the way it's executed is so incredibly botched in my opinion. And the humor is almost there. Like, I feel like these jokes should be funny, but the way they're delivered is just not good. And that's crazy considering how many funny people are in this. The only highlight for me was Lawrence Fishburne as Thrak. Such a cool and underrated villain in my opinion. Osmosis Jones ain't terrible, but it ain't too good either.
Jones?
In the words of the immortal James Brown, get down!
There's a lot that doesn't work about Looney Tunes back in action. For starters, it has Brendan Fraser before the whale, so he sucks. I don't know, I only laughed a handful at times, and it was usually because of the actual Looney Tunes and not the humans. Daffy wanting his own movie but never getting through to Warner Brothers executives is really funny considering nowadays. So what you're saying, Zaslav, is that my movie can't happen because Velma Season 2 has to happen?
Yes!
You're despicable.
But the rest of it is typical unfunny stuff that only is made worse by downright cringy performances from Fraser, Jenna Elfman, and even Steve Martin. It just makes this a downright unfunny film in my opinion. Though this bit with the actual Shaggy and Scooby roasting Matthew Lillard is some bullshit. He was the best part of those movies and you know it.
And I'll give you a Scooby.
Teen Titans Go to the Polls, or the movies, is a film I'm ashamed I've mentioned multiple times as I still very much enjoy it. It's way funnier than the show ever was, though I am starting to realize the show could actually be funny at times. This film had some really good music. How do I know this?
Picture my booty up in 3D.
Even with the castings that just make me physically cringe at the thought that this movie released in 2018.
Like, wow, Lil Yachty, oh my god, Warner Brothers, you're so fucking cool.
But I like the humor, the music, hell, the story was really cool. If anything, it's even ironic that they're concerned about a Robin movie, but they made 2 movies about a guy who talks to fucking fish. I know it's not their top film, but Teen Titans Go to the Movies was way too good to be a Teen Titans Go movie.
Kids, ask your parents.
Space Jam has definitely gone back and forth for me. On one hand, it's dated. I mean, Michael Jordan is the star. But on another, I like the way they blended animation and live action, and I think the basketball scene alone is worth the price of admission. And Looney Tunes are funny, though there's an R. Kelly song, Ew. It's a perfectly flawed film. I'm aware of its age just by fucking looking at it, but it's a fun kind of age. You can tell it released in the mid-90s. Michael Jordan isn't terrible and actually plays off the Looney Tunes pretty well. It's a cheesy sellout, but it's a fun cheesy sellout. Better than playing Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports.
That I am not paying $50 to play Looney Tunes Wii Sports Edition.
Also, if you haven't been able to tell yet, Space Jam LeBron James Edition is not Warner Brothers animation. Otherwise, I would have talked about it already after Quest of Camelot. That shit was ass.
Show 'em who you really are, notorious P.I.G.
Cats Don't Dance has always baffled me in how it's always the one animated film nobody talks about. Like, I've only ever seen Nostalgia Critic talk about it, and if Nostalgia Critic's the only person I've seen talk about it, that's bad. I think the music is catchy. I like the throwbacks to classic golden era filmmaking, like fast talking and catchy musical numbers. I found the characters to be fun and likable, especially the leads. And Darla Dimple is a top-tier animated movie villain, fight me. Really, I don't have much else to say. This was a surprisingly great film. I'm surprised nobody really talks about. I think my top 2 is kind of obligatory, and honestly, it makes sense why these movies made the top 2. Taking the silver is The Iron Giant. The only reason it's number 2 is that I've always kind of found it overrated, but that doesn't mean that I hate it. I get why so many people love the character of the Iron Giant. His connection to the character of Superman, his heartbreaking sacrifice, his connection to the boy I can't remember the name of. Hogarth, yeah right, his parents hate him or something.
Go play with the neighbor's kids, Mom, he's so weird, his name is Hogarth.
Hey, wanna see my robot?
Oh, I'm sure it's fucking lame.
Ain't he cool?
That's a killing machine. Launch the missile now!
Yeah, let's talk about Mansley, because not only is he a funny-ass villain, but he's also voiced by Christopher McDonald, a guy who I'm convinced can only play villains. The way they animate him alongside the way McDonald always delivers the lines is just so good. I don't love it the way everyone else does, but I definitely see the appeal.
That missile is targeted to the Giant's current position! Where's the Giant, Mansley? What?
It's so sad that Mask of the Phantasm has remained the best thing to come out of Warner Brothers Animation. Not because it's a bad film, but this is the first film to come out of the company in 1993, and somehow, 30 years later, they still have yet to get something nearly as great as this. Kevin Conroy is one of my favorite Batman, so you know what that means.
I hate this fucking game.
The action was great, killer for the time. For a second, I almost thought maybe Warner Brothers cared about the fans. But I know nowadays that's just not true. Time after time, I'll watch a trailer for a movie that Warner Brothers is coming out with and think of all the films that they had to cancel to make room for it. A Minecraft movie. Look at that. Because of whatever this is, they canceled so many films that had promise. They denied so many projects with potential. A Batman Beyond movie from the Spider-Verse creators. A Static Shock movie. May I remind you, they had Coyote vs. Acme done, finished, but had chose to cancel a full release. Denied the very fans who made these assholes rich for the sake of money. When will they learn? When will Warner Brothers realize they have to try with their releases? Listen to the fans. Listen to the people who are your biggest audience. Please, Warner Brothers. How do you cancel something like Batgirl or Coyote vs. Acme, but not wait. They canceled Velma? As in, they listened? They listened to what people wanted? I think this might be it. This has to be it. The turn of an era, the new age of Warner Brothers. We'll finally see so many projects come to light. We'll finally see all these projects that had so much time and energy put into them come to fruition. This is the best thing to ever happen to this company. We will be canceling the day the Earth blew up.